Hi, we're here with Toby Brink, and he is the CEO of the Tri-Valley Innovative Network, TVIN. Toby, tell us about it. How did you get started in this?
Well, I started with the Tri-Valley Business Council as a CEO 2 years ago. One of the first projects that the Business Council worked on was they actually commissioned Collaborative Economics out of Redwood City to do an analysis of the business landscape here in the Tri-Valley. And in October 2006, they came out with a comprehensive report and a number of recommendations. There were some very interesting trends that they found in the Tri-Valley that support the Tri-Valley investment in the innovation economy. So there are statistics they looked at that support this area as truly a leader in terms of innovation. There are three that really stand out. One is that we outperform other similar regions, with the exception of Silicon Valley and San Francisco, 3 to 1 in terms of patent filings at the state level, 5 to 1 at the national level. So we have a tremendous amount of creative people who are actually inventing or patenting new technologies and new ways of doing things. The second was that our population here, most of which live and work here, 42% of them have a bachelor's degree or higher. That's compared to the state average of 27%. So we have a highly educated population in this region. What was missing, it found, was a culture or a network similar to what you have in the Silicon Valley or San Francisco that actually brings entrepreneurs, service providers, investors together to collaborate. So a lot of the people that were interviewed during the process of putting together our report would have loved to have done work together collaboratively, but didn't know that the other existed. And so they asked for some form of medium to bring them together. I'm a big believer that you don't commission a report and spend a bunch of time analyzing trends and statistics unless you're going to do something about it. And so of those three recommendations, there were three. One was to build an innovation network. The second was to brand the Tri-Valley, and the third was to continue to focus on quality of life and competitiveness issues such as workforce housing, traffic congestion, quality education, things of that nature. We decided that we could focus on one of those, and we decided to build this innovation network, if you will. And it really began as the concept was an incubator or a virtual incubator of sorts. I've been involved on the board of an incubator before. I've seen the failures of incubators in the East Bay, and the one thing they had in common was that public entities got involved in long-term leases and essentially became landlords, and of no fault of their own got stuck trying to pay the bills, so they let in some of the wrong types of companies. They diluted the real value of an incubator because they did not have the right types of companies in those incubators. So we thought, why can't we provide these same resources virtually through a network, through the level of expertise that we have here in the Tri-Valley. We have a tremendous amount of brain power, tremendous amount of very successful people who have worked for Fortune 500 companies, who worked in Silicon Valley, San Francisco, who can invest in this community. And so we thought, well, how do we build that network and bring them all together through this website? And then we realized the second portion of this project was that a website is not enough. We need an actual offline component. So we've teamed up with the Keiretsu Forum and other entities that have experience in these fields to build an offline component to educate and provide mentoring services for entrepreneurs, and ultimately hook them up with service providers in their own backyard. So it's about creating this network, creating a community for entrepreneurs, service providers, and investors to bring more capital into the Tri-Valley, to bring more notoriety to the entrepreneurs that live in our own backyard.
That's wonderful. So how is it going so far? What's going on with these entrepreneurs and, and their connection with the Tri-Valley Innovation Network?
Well, I think the first challenge is to find them. We realize that, we recognize what we're up against, and that is that service providers can be easily found on lists, and they're somewhat transparent lists that are out there. Investors, we can reach through our collaborative partnerships, but the entrepreneurs often, I don't want to say they live under a rock, but they work out of their garage, and they work out of Starbucks, and they work out of, they don't necessarily have, there's no there really, there's no list for entrepreneurs, if you will. So we were fortunate enough to engage the help of Rena with New Resume to help us reach out through non-traditional mediums from our standpoint to entrepreneurs and to develop a sort of a magnet to draw them into this network. And we're certainly only scratching the surface. There's a lot more work to do in that regard.
Yeah, I'm sure. So what are you going to do to draw in more now?
Well, I think now that we have, now that we've launched the website and we're developing the offline component, now it's all about sort of viral marketing, so to speak, is using technology to reach people who live and breathe technology for a living. So I met a company here earlier today who does text surveys, and they were telling me that we could have sent out surveys while the speakers were speaking via text. So there's a lot of technology that we haven't even tapped into yet. We're really just scratching the surface here. Wow.
So what do you want for the future? What's your dream for TVIN?
My dream would be that our resources that we provide to our entrepreneurs live up to the level of excellence that we have in the entrepreneurial community. I think that we are fairly immature. I hesitate to say immature, but I think that some of the cities out here are very, very young. This was formerly an agrarian area. It's grown very quickly. Now we have premier office parks. We have Fortune 500 companies in our backyard. We have the Lawrence Livermore Laboratory. We have Sandia Laboratory. We have first-class educational institutions in our backyard. So now it's a question of how do we bring that network up to the level that is on par with other areas that have invested in innovation and technology, such as the Silicon Valley, such as San Diego in the biotech area. I think there's still a lot of work to do, and the potential's all there, so I just look at it as untapped potential. I think we're a sleeping giant.
Well, I think if anyone can do it, Toby, you can. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time.